to do anything with threat hunting. So the digital forensics, okay, threat modeling, the first one, write a detection logic. You know where we studied this, guys? We studied this in IDS and IBS. We said sometimes we need to write an IDS like rules, like snort rules, like alert if there is certain traffic coming from this network going to this network, and the message will be and the CID will be. So this is part of IDS detection. Okay, so this is part of the IDS detection. This is also doesn't have to do anything with the threat hunting. So the only thing that's left with us here is establish a hypothesis. And if you guys go back to what we have explained about threat hunting and its proactive techniques, and one of the really early stages of these proactive techniques is to come and say, you know what, my system is being compromised, let me prove if it's really compromised or no. So they call this the null hypothesis. And I don't know, some of you, I'm sure that they are part of this research community in university, and we have something called null hypothesis. Null hypothesis always in the threat hunting that my system has been compromised. Okay, and you really need to work your way out until you find out if it's really compromised or no. So this is how to answer this question if you really not clear about what is the right answer. Okay, so let's look at this question. Which of the following, okay, threat actors? He's asking about threat actors. I'll let you guys read the question. So, mashallah, Faisal is saying C. Okay. Okay. So everyone agreed again. We already talked about threats before, and the categorization of threat actors. And I see, mashallah, all of you knows that, mashallah, this is the activism. And these are the guys that they are really motivated by social agenda or political agenda. So they wanted really to change the regime. And I even told you about a series that you should look at the hacktivism and how hacktivism are used. This is the I report. So this is hacktivism. Okay. Nation states can be sometimes really motivated by political, but not socially motivated purpose. Insider threats, that someone inside your company, so he's attacking your assets, so he cannot be, because he's not really politically or socially motivated. He's just someone maliciously doing something maliciously within the company. 0 day is basically a vulnerability. So this one and this one is completely excluded. Okay, these tools can really be politically, but the more that what is really into socially motivated purposes is the hacktivist. So this is just to also how to eliminate the wrong answers here. Okay, so let's look at this, guys. Okay, so we have a security analyst. Okay, so El Hanouf saying B. Okay. Shaza is saying it may be D. Okay. We really need to look at what type of attacks we have here, guys. Okay. So we have a new malware, okay, inside our organization. Okay. My antivirus, because the signature was not able to really take a decision, okay, about if it's a virus or no. Okay, so it's really, and now khalas, we passed this and we are looking back and looking and how to really prevent this to happen in the future. Okay, so we really need to have a mechanism, okay, to really investigate this kind of new variant of malwares. Okay, So again, let's go for the elimination first. Enabling application blacklisting. What is application blacklisting, guys? Again, if you remember application blacklisting, that's mean I will have a computer and some of these application will not be allowed to install in these computers. Okay, so if you have WhatsApp or you have maybe Facebook, you cannot install it in your PC. So this is what we call blacklisting. This is that's have nothing to do with ransom here, right? Okay, purchasing cyber assurance or insurance. Where did we study this before? In the risk management and risk treatment. So this doesn't have to do anything with this topic because we are talking about a virus. Okay, let's look at this. Installing a firewall between a workstation and the internet. Okay, so what is the firewall will do, guys? If you guys remember what is firewall will do, is going to be looking at monitoring traffic coming from the internet to your network, and according to certain rules and security policy, it will either allow this traffic or no. Okay, but we are not talking about traffic. We are talking about a virus. So even if you downloaded a virus, okay, your firewall will not stop. He doesn't really understand the content virus. Okay, so if it's downloaded, the firewall will not stop it because the firewall work in the layer 3 and layer 4. Okay, it doesn't have also the capability to check the content of the message, understand this is a malicious code or no. So this is also cannot be a technique to stop the virus. The only technique here that's we mentioned before, in order to really get to understand the malware and how the malware will react is the sandboxing technology. So this will be our answer. So again, if you are not sure from the answer, try to understand, see why the other answer doesn't fit, and then you will get to the right answer. Okay. So here is another question over here, guys. It is it talks about cryptocurrency miner, and if you don't know what is cryptocurrency miner, it means that they will install a small application in your computer after compromise your computer and use your computer resources like CPU and memory and hard drive, right to really do mining for a cryptocurrency. So your computer basically will be a zombie to do mining, and for sure that will save them electricity, and they will can control your computer really to do the mining stuff. Okay, so this is what we mean by cryptocurrency miner. Okay. So we can see basically four questions. So I will let you guys read the question and read the answers and tell me what should be the right answer. Okay. Nawar is saying R. I don't think that we have R. Okay. Nawar is saying B. Yeah. Okay. So anyone wanted to really so again, guys, this is not like a competition to win here a prize. This is, you can really read the scenarios over here at the start. First of all, we have an incident response analyst. So this guy is who is really responding to incident. Okay, he's investigating cryptocurrency miners on a company servers. Okay, so I mentioned again, the cryptocurrency, guys, is an infection or a software that will allow someone remotely, okay, to take over your computer or resources here and use it for crypto mining. Okay, so this is crypto mining is a big thing, and let's look at what the incident response will do. Okay, the first answer, guys, it's saying create a full disk image of the server hard drive. Okay, but we are talking about, look at this. The first step here is like mentioning it in the early beginning. This is not the first step, guys. Why? Even if, because we are not talking about digital forensics team. We're talking about incident response. We need to review what incident response responsibilities. First of all, they need they need first of all to investigate if we have an incident or no, and then we need to do continuations, and then we need to do eradication. Okay, so this is kind of the steps that I do as an incident response. So full disk image will come only if I find out already this is a cyber crime, and already I informed the legal department, and then I took the memory dump and the network dump, and then I will go to hard drive. So this is the third or fourth step. Okay, but he is talking about the first step over here. So the first one is not going to be the answer here. Okay, run a manual antivirus scan on a machine to look for known malicious software. Okay, this is could be also part of eradication. Okay, you need to remember what the incident response are doing. They are, first of all, they wanted to verify the incident, they wanted to contain the damage, okay, and then they wanted to do eradication. So this is could be really something to do, especially if you have a new updated software. So this is could be, but like this is will be step number 3. But again, he mentioned clearly here, I want step number 1. So this is also take us out of this. Okay, now we have 2 steps, which is really important steps. Take a memory snapshot of the machine to capture volatile information stored in the memory. Okay, and another one, start packet capture to look at the traffic that could be indicating of a command and control from the miner. Okay, guys. So which one is like more relative? Both of them are important. I see some of you guys, El Hanouf is saying yes, C or D. So it's really C or D. So which one is more close to what this kind of attacks? Okay,
I think it is D.
Yeah, it's D.
Because I believe active cryptocurrency mining is like still will be working 24/7. So like if we get the capturing bucket, we will know who is really target the machine, and we can maybe like know him, and maybe like press legal charges against him, because like mining is gonna be like 24/7. So like the machine is gonna be working 24/7. If you could like have more information about the anonymous, will be like much better than like taking a capture of the memory.
Yes. So taking the capture of the memory, where it happened, guys, after I verify if it's an incident. Okay, if we will start to take the digital forensics if we really sure that this is an attack. Okay, so that's why we start with a bucket capture. Bucket capturing will show us how the miner is interacting with this machine. Okay, and then later on, خلاص, let me start to collect the evidence this was an attack. Okay, so this is the first step is going to be the first step is going to be D, to start the bucket capture and look at the traffic and investigate if it's a really machine that's infected with a cryptocurrency miner or not. Okay, guys. So here this question is, we called it soft questions. It's not really highly technical, but it's important to know because this is also part of the lecture that we talked about privacy. Okay, and privacy means that you really need to do something to protect the information that's related to your customers and data and their data. So this question is really related to this. So let's look at the answers here. So BII, guys, is again personal identification information or information identification. So this is basically personal data for your customers. So which is important. We have a security breach, and I mentioned the GDPR. So what the GDPR will enforce you to do. So we got Ibtisam and or the other guys are saying it's an A. Okay. So who is responsible, guys, in the company to talk to outside organization? Because if you have the breach, okay, according to GDPR, within 72 hours, okay, you really need to talk to your customer and inform them about this. Okay. So HR should be informed, but this is HR for internal communication. Okay, we have another team within the organization to talk to the public. This is the public facing people, and that's why we call them public relationship. So the marketing team is a team within the company, guys, who's doing marketing. So you have a new product, you wanted to sell this product, okay? You wanted really to advertise for this product. This is gonna be your marketing team, okay? Internal network operation centers, they will not be able to really talk to the public in this case, because this is a technical guys. Human resources is the one that's really concerned about the employees' affairs. Okay, their salaries, their vacations, their attendance, their health insurance. They don't really, they are not really required to talk to the public. So only one team that's required to talk up to the public is public relation. Okay, again, this is according to GDPR is a must. So if you are compromised within 72 hours, you need to be able to communicate to your team and tell them that we are compromised. Okay, so let us go and look at another question. Okay, so this is another question, guys. I don't know if it's clear or no, but I hope that yeah, I'm here. Yeah, you wanted me to explain the questions? Okay. So the question here, guys, is saying basically, Faisal is saying C, okay. Let's look at the answers here, guys. And let me tell you how I feel about these answers. So the attacker here exploited an unpatched vulnerability in web application. So we have a web server, okay? And in this web server, we have a certain application that's running, and the attacker managed to exploit. And we mentioned that exploit means taking advantage of one of these unpatched. Just I wanted you to read this unpatched, okay? And then used an application service account that's had an insecure configuration to download a rootkit. So in this server, guys, okay, there is one service account here, okay, which he managed to compromise as well. And he managed to use this account to download stuff on the server, okay? He downloaded what? A rootkit. But the attacker was enabled to obtain root privilege. Instead, the attacker then downloaded a cryptocurrency mining program in the computer. So when he installed this root kit, guys, usually rootkit is a virus or a malware that will allow you to really take over this machine and become a root, okay? But in this case, it didn't work, okay? So because he didn't really manage to be the root, okay, he said, okay, or not, let me still go to this service account that I compromised. I would download a crypto mining on this computer, okay, and then what? And subsequently was discovered the server was taken offline, rebuilt and patched, okay? So the attacker all of a sudden, he lost his connection, okay? And what happened is okay, once he lost his connection, he couldn't come back because the vulnerability has been patched. So he cannot come back, okay? So now we have the following should be the security engineers suggest to help prevent the similar scenario in the future. The engineer now came and he started to look and he said, you know what, let me try to stop this to happen, okay? So first of all, remove root privilege from the application service account, okay? But the application service account, guys, doesn't have root privilege, okay? That's why the attacker was trying to get to install root quit. So the first one here, guys, was not the reason. So the application service account didn't give the attacker a root privilege, okay? So, and that's why the attacker failed to really to become a root in this machine. So this one is wrong, okay? So then let's look at the other one. Implementation or implement a separation of duties. What is the separation of duties means, guys? Separation of duties means that you don't give all the permission to someone, to only one person. Okay, so like for example, if I wanted really to do a complicated task in a computers, we really need 2 people at least to do this task. This is what we call separation of duties. Okay, and they can you can tell from this attack doesn't have anything with separation of duties because we have unpatched server, okay, and this unpatched server was exploited by someone. So how separation of duties, okay, will help in this case. So this is also not related thing, okay. So here probably configure SLE Linux and set it to enforce. Okay, so what SLE Linux? It's a version of Linux that is more secure and allow you to give labels, okay, and classification for your data. So you can say, you know, this data is classified, this is super classified, this is really, you know, I would say, this is a classified, top secret, secret, and then assign labels assign permission to your employees to log into this data according to the security clearance they have. So as you can see, also this is really doesn't really have to do anything with unpatched server, okay, and here. So let's understand what he's saying here. He's saying use cron, okay, to schedule regular restart of the service to terminate sessions. What he's trying to do here, what is really he's saying here, okay. So the first thing you need to understand the cycle of cybersecurity, the methodology of cybersecurity. Maybe I explained it before. Once the attacker really get to your system, guys, they will do something called privilege escalation. Once they are privilege escalation, what they will do, they will try to be present on the system all the time. So we call this opening a back door on the system, okay? So, but in order to open the back door, you need to escalate your privilege to be a root, and then you will install a backdoor so you can later come back to the system. So what he is saying here. So let's first of all understand what is cron. Cron is how we schedule a task in Linux operating system. So if I wanted to schedule a task like a backup, I will schedule a task like a backup every day at 9 o'clock, so it will run every day at 9 o'clock. So look what it's saying here. It will regularly start of the service to terminate sessions. We really need to understand what he's trying to say here. The attacker until now, guys, are not presented in the system all the time. He's not, I would say, he doesn't have root permission, first of all. He didn't install backdoor. He only compromised one of the services that was running here. And he compromised the account that was running the service. You know what will happen when the cron schedule will start to do restart for the service? When they restart the service, okay, he will lose this connectivity. And when we lose his connectivity, he will not be able to come back because basically what your system is patched, okay, and basically he doesn't have root permission and he didn't create a backdoor. They call this in ethical hacking being persistent, okay, in the system. And as long as he's not admin, as long as he didn't open a backdoor for him, as long as the system restart and patch it, okay, he will not be able to come back to the system. So this is the only solution that I see valid in this three scenarios. Okay, guys. I know this is like a little bit advanced question, which is really, really you need to understand how ethical hacking really do. But we explain one lecture about penetration testing and the penetration testing methodology, and how the attacker will start with footprinting or reconnaissance, and then go to exploiting the system, and then go a little bit further to keep himself resistance in the system and privilege escalation. But again, the answer for this question is the cron schedule to start the service. If you wanted also a preventive technique, is to run a schedule updates and batch for all your operating system and Linux system and Windows systems, because the main reason about this vulnerability, or the main reason behind this exploit, was unbatched vulnerability. Okay, guys. Okay, so let's look at this. This is questions related to network. Okay, so it's saying that you run this command in your computer, ipconfig, and you get this results. Okay, and then it's saying you need to write an access list. We talked about how to write an access list when we talked about firewall, and how to write extended access list, and and standard access list. So it's saying in this question how to really write an access list to on a stateful host-based firewall would allow the PC to serve an internet website. So I wanted this guy, I wanted this computer to be able to become a website. Okay, and this website is gonna be intranet. Intranet means internally, not externally. So this is the question here. I mean, let me explain it differently. So this computer, okay, this Windows machine or Linux machine or whatever machine, okay, I want to be able to turn this machine to a web server, okay, but this web server is not open for everyone. It's only open for people who are within my network. So this is what we mean by intranet. So anyone within my network will be able to communicate with these guys over here. Okay, so we really need to. So I got an answer saying, you know what? Allow, okay, 172.30.0.28 or over port 80 to talk to this network. So this is one answer, is saying this. Okay, allow this server to talk to anyone. Okay, we have allow this server to talk over 443 with this specific client, and we have one here over here saying allow this server to talk to this specific host. So which one is right, guys? Okay, to we understand why the first one is wrong, okay? Because we allowing this computer to talk to any, okay? It's wrong because we mentioned clearly here this is an intranet. So if I said any, that means can talk to internet and extranet. So this is wrong, okay? So let's look at this, guys. This first one is saying here, I wanted to allow this 080, okay, source, okay, to talk to anyone within a network /16. So how really I look at this, guys? So look at this here. So this network, how can I define this network, okay, from network perspective? We have in the network two parts of any IP address. Maybe I explained this to you before or no. Okay, so this is your IP address. It's divided to two parts. The first part, we call it the network address, and the second part is called the host address, okay? How our computers really understand what is the difference between the host part and the network part? By adding something called the subnet. Where is the subnet? The subnet, guys, can tell which is the host part and which is the network part. So if we have 255, okay, that's mean the first 2 bytes here is the network, and the last 2 bytes here are the host. Okay, so we have a network 172, okay, dot 30, okay, dot 0, dot 0, because this is the network. How did I know? By matching the IP with the subnet. This is why we created the subnet. Okay, the subnet is to tell me which part is the network ID and which part is the host ID. The last two bits here is 0, 29, 28 is basically is our host ID. Okay, so what is 00 means here? 0 mean it can take any value from 0 to 255. Okay, so from this diagram, guys, if you guys remember, we talked about this in cloud. So this one is called /16. Why? Because I have up to 8 bits here and 8 bits here, okay, for the host ID. So this is 172.30.0.0 is my network that's within the organization, and any host within the organization can take any number from these 2 digits. Okay, and that's why we talked also about subnet a couple of days ago. But the most important thing that I wanted you guys to understand from these 2 numbers over here, that's a network code 172.30.0.0/16. How did I get this /16? Because it allow me to for 16 bits of host and 16 bits of network. So I have 00. How did I know this is 16 bits? Because if you guys remember, this decimal number, I can turn it to something called binary numbers. And the binary numbers, our IP address consists of 32-bit, okay, of IP address. And these 32 bits are basically bits that can take 0 or 1. Okay, so I know this is a part of really network, which is we covered a long time ago, but this is how network really you start to understand how network works. So IP address is 32 bits. So when I see 00, that's mean I have 8 bits plus 8 bits, that's total of 16 bits. That's why we say it's /16. So the second one here is saying, you know what? I wanted this specific machine over port 80 to be able to talk to my network, which is exactly matching what we have over here. Okay, but and then the last 2 ones, why it's wrong, you can tell. This is port 80 are trying to talk to myself, okay, over port 443, which is طبعا a machine talk to to the same machine over different port. This is a completely wrong thing. This is not gonna work because this is the same machine. Here over here also, guys, we can see that a machine over, this is a machine IP address is talking to a specific machine, okay, which is 28.53. So this is not gonna talk to the entire, okay, internet. Okay, guys, do we understand now why this is the right answer? Okay, I know this is a part of network, but again, it's important to understand a little bit network. It will be important for you when you look at the cloud, how to build your VPCs. And it's also for this kind of questions, it's important to understand the network behind it. Okay, so let's look at this, guys, question. And basically it's saying you need to choose two answers here. So I will let you guys to look into this. So again, guys, I wanted really you guys to read the scenario. Okay, try to get what is this scenario is trying to say here. This scenario is basically about someone within the organization, the CISO. This is the guy who's taking care of your security information within the organization. I'm gonna let you just think about it, okay? And he sent a survey, okay? He's asking the management, or he asking people who is managing the critical functions within the organization, how long they can really sustain a disruption, okay? So what kind of will be really included in this survey? You agree with me? Okay, so A1B. Okay. So I can see, guys, mashallah, some of you have already got part of the answers right. There is also one missing answers here. I think it's not included, but I should include it in just one second. Okay. So here, let's look at this scenario, guys. We have already someone, okay, mission critical function across the organization. The survey requires a manager to determine how long their respective units can operate in the event of an extended IT outage before the organization suffer momentary issues or losses from the outage. Okay, guys? So they wanted to really conduct a business. First of all, why risk avoidance is not in this scenario? Risk avoidance, guys, is about what? Risk avoidance about this is risk treatment plan. So when you do risk treatment, you have a certain function that you do, and because it's gonna open the door for risk, you are gonna cancel this basically activity. So this is not part of this question. The question is asking, he's going back to the management, asks him, what is the impact of extended IT outage? Okay. So this is, as you can see, this is a business impact. Okay. And he's asking them a very important question. Okay. What is the extended IT outage before the organization suffer momentary loss from the outage? Okay, so he's asking about something we talked about it before called recovery time objectives. Okay, how long to extend it? Okay, extended means يعني how long we will be down until this is gonna like really impact our operation. Okay, so what is the maximum tolerable time for the business uh, before we really get into troubles? So really the answer for these questions, guys, can be actually three here. Okay, so the three here, guys, will be, first of all, the business impact analysis, the maximum tolerable time for downtime, and the recovery time objective. Okay, so this is really the answer for these questions. I think there's one missing answers here, guys, which is the maximum tolerable time before the company started to lose a lot of money because the system is not available. So the answer for this question, he really need to get from the business three basic question. What is the business impact analysis? Okay, what is the maximum tolerable time for to be down, and the recovery time objectives. So this is the answer for this question. Unfortunately, I don't know why it's not included here, but this is definitely answered for these questions. Okay. Let's look at this, guys. Again, risk assessment is not part of this. Okay, recovery point objective could be also part of this if we are not talking about time, because here is time is talking about time. So respective unit can operate how long. Okay, so we're talking about not how much of data we'll be losing. We're talking about how long, and that's why I choose recovery time objective and not recovery point objective. Okay, so another question here, if you guys can read, the question and let me know what is the right answer. I know this question is also a little bit advanced question because it requires you guys to know a little bit about programming, especially something called version controlling and you know how to submit version to like software to something like a repository like GitHub or any websites that allow you to do version controlling. But again, I think that also the question is easy because it tells you exactly what is the issue is. Okay, so Seth Faisal is saying A, Afrah is saying A. Nice participation, Afrah. Okay, so let's go, guys, and we'll try to really solve this question. First of all, a software development firm wanted to validate the use of a standard library as part of software development process. Okay, so where we use libraries, guys, when we write our code in early beginning, okay, sometimes we import some libraries, okay, sometimes we import you know, add libraries, okay, and libraries is basically functions that we can allow us to do extra activity or extra function within our software, guys. So again, this is comes to what we have explained before. There's something called third-party components that you include your software, and you need to make sure the third-party components are really secure or no, because it's going to be end of day is going to be part of your software. So he's saying that we really need to understand if these components is secure or no. Okay, so how can we do this? Okay, the library is not going to be seen in the run. So in order to really check on the libraries, okay, what we do once we have the software added a component to it, and once we submit it to a GitHub or repository for version controls, we do run static analysis to look at the code and the library. And if one of these library is outdated, it will mention this is an outdated library, and then you can go send it back to the developer to fix this library, and then another commit again. So the kind of commit and versioning, and I'm not quite sure how you guys have used GitHub before, but the idea here is I wanted to really do changes in my code. So I will submit it to a repository and will give me a certain number for the committing. And then I will run my static analysis, and then I will get the feedback from the static analysis, and then I will recommit again. So this is like a bit of how the DevOps are working right now. And they use this as a continuous integration and continuous delivery. So, but again, the most important thing is he's using library, okay, as part of software process. Each developer perform unit testing prior to committing changes to the code repository. So we are wanted to really check the code before we committed it to the code repository. So how to check the code? There's two ways. You can do something called peer review, or you can do something called static analysis. Okay, all the dynamic analysis and all this stuff, this is gonna be happening on the runtime. And the runtime, guys, is way before we deploy the code. Like before deploying the code, we will do the dynamic analysis and penetration testing. But early beginning, when we wanted to the developer to check if the part of this library was secure or no, this is early beginning in the development, and that's why the right answer here is the static analysis. Okay. So this is the part of this question. So I will move to another question. طبعا heuristic analysis, guys, is not part of our software development life cycle, because heuristic analysis is basically about IDS and IBS, and how to look at the baseline for your traffic, and if we find any something anomalies, this is not going to be part of our software. Dynamic analysis is basically what we do when we run the program. This is the runtime analysis to fuzz the website application and try to find the data. Okay. Web application vulnerability scanning is also something like dynamic analysis. The both of them are really running after the runtime, and penetration testing is happening after you do web application vulnerability scanning. You find some vulnerability, and then the penetration testing will allow you to validate these vulnerabilities. Okay, so this is the explanation for all of them. So again, we're talking about the developer are reviewing and checking before changes made to the code repository. That's mean early beginning as a static analysis. Okay, guys, so this is another question. Okay, I see some of you, mashallah, saying Ibtihal, Najwa, Sam. Okay, so why do you think, guys, this is the proper way? Okay, so we have a developer that he looks at a legacy software, and the word legacy, guys, means an old software that's been developed long time ago. We lost the source code. We don't have the source code. Yani, I cannot really review the static analysis. I cannot do the static analysis because we don't have the source code. We have only the code in the running mode. Okay, and I wanted to understand how the certain input data field will react. Okay, so what I can do in this case is what is to fuzz. Again, I explained yesterday what is fuzzing means, which is sending different inputs to the input, the data feeds, and see what kind of error it will throw me. So this is will kind of give me an indication if we have a cross-site scripting, if we have SQL injection, if we have any type of injection is there. And that's why the first answer is the right one, which is returning or running an automated fuzzer. Okay, constructing a known cyber text attacks, cipher attacks. We are not really talking about cipher here at all. So this is completely wrong. Cipher attacks means that you attacking you're analyzing the cipher itself to understand what this cipher is all about. We are not talking about cipher here, guys. Okay, attempting SQL injection commands. This is going to be part of the fuzzer. So the fuzzer is more common than this one. This is really good techniques, but what we really do to understand what kind of output I will get from this input field is by fuzzing. Okay, guys, performing a full packet capture, it will not help me because it's not going to tell me how this application will react when I really send different inputs. So the right solution is basically the first one. Okay, so let's look at this question, guys. Anytime, inshallah. Okay, in order to solve this question, guys, you need to remember what is the incident response, okay, incident response procedures, okay? To have A, B, C only, I didn't include D, enough. So I got an answer B. Remember, I need really to implement incident response procedures. Okay. So what is the procedures we should do in this case? Okay. Excellent. I see a lot of mashallah. People are really, really trying to understand. Okay, guys, just I wanted to explain one thing. Here, okay, he found a rule. Rule in Outlook means, okay, a condition. Okay, so if this happens, this is what will happen. So this is in your Outlook email. This is a rule, and this rule is saying, any email comes to the executive name. Okay, it will be mailed to the attacker email. Okay, and then it will delete this email from the executive emails. Okay, so this is what is the rule in Outlook will say. يعني I will forward the email to someone, and because I don't want to see anyone or to tell anyone that I'm really sending this email outside, because you have something called the sent items. If you go to the sent item, you can see, oh, there is something is forwarding this email. So I wanted to be sneaky. So that we are doing an investigation now to really look into the executive email rules. So we figure out these rules. And this guy was trying to hide his tracks by, deleting the sent items that's been sent to him. So even if the executives looks at the sent items, everything will look what normal. So this is what the attacks is all about. So this is the okay. We confirmed this is an attack because we basically leaking emails to outside the organization. What really comes after this, guys? Okay, what really comes after we confirm it's an incident? Okay, we don't have D. We have only 3 options here. Okay, we got someone saying C. So again, guys, I told you the perfect answer here comes back from the incident response process. The incident response process is saying, let's figure out if we have an incident or no. Secondly, okay, let's try to contain the damage of this incident. How to contain this? Okay, if I go and check the logs, if I go and do something else, okay, means any email are still being leaked to outside. Because the first of all, I wanted to really contain the damage. I don't want to send more emails to the attackers. So the first early thing that will come to mind is to delete these rules, because and then I can go and investigate how many emails been sent to this guy, what kind of information was sent, because this is going to take time. But if the rules is still there, it will keep forwarding this email. I wanted to contain the damage. I don't want this damage to be continuing. And that's why I will go with this one. Remove this rule from email client and change the password. Okay, guys, because most probably this email has been compromised and this rules has already added by the attacker himself. Okay, so this is the containing continuations part of the attack. Okay, but here, guys, let's look at the other one, why I think it's not appropriate. So here, check the server logs to evaluate which email were sent to this guy. When we will do this, definitely, okay, but you know where? When we do eradication, because we wanted to know, we wanted to know what is the root cause of this issue. Okay, use SIM to correlate logging event from the email server and the domain server. Okay, this because mostly all these logs will be sent to the sim, and this is can be also done in eradication, because eradication is all about finding the root cause and trying to get rid of the root cause or root cause of this. So again, we come back to, I wanted to contain the damage. I will stop the rule. I mean, you know what? Even a better يعني better phrasing for this job is to say stop the rule, because there is an option to stop the rules in Outlook, okay, and it changes the password. Because removing the rules, we are removing evidence. We can actually leave it. Maybe later on, I can use it as an evidence that that email has been compromised by this way. So stopping the rule, changing the password will be the first early step in this after we mail address of the executive was compromised. So here is another question. Okay, so Faisal is saying A. By the way, guys, this attack specifically, okay, we covered maybe 2, 3 days ago when we were talking about vulnerabilities in software.
Yeah, I believe it's A because Spraying is gonna test all the accounts for two to avoid the lookout account.
Yes.
So it's gonna try as much as it's good, and I don't think it's a denial of service attack because
Yes.
it's not, like a denial. So, and the other one, shift work activity sim, I don't think it's that. Yeah.
Yes. So, guys, again, this is password attacks, which is basically we use different password with different account to see if we will be able. It's like a brute force, okay, to see if we can really get into. But the difference between brute force and this attacks is brute force, guys, is gonna try all the different combination. While the password spraying attacks, we have a list or a dictionary of passwords and dictionary of names, and we try them. Okay, so this is the bit different between the spraying attacks and the brute force attacks. But again, if you looked at trying to exclude the wrong answers, you will see what is really is happening here. Denial of service attacks, maybe it's really we're trying to really send so many traffic to really consume the bandwidth or to consume the memory or to consume the CPU for a certain server. So this is definitely not. This is was normal shift work activity, okay, and the same is AI is learning. So this is also nonsense. Means what we mean by normal shift work activity, okay. Shift work activity can be shifted 1 hour or 2 hours, not at the same time. Okay, credential external vulnerability scan was performed. Okay, this is also could be the case, but again, from the logs and from the type of the username and passwords, okay, you can tell it was a spring the right answer, guys. Okay, so let's look at more, I would say, complicated questions, because this is really needs you to. We have few questions, and then I will give you a break. So
We we can't see the top of the
yes, yes,
question.
yes. That's why I just
Oh,
minimize it.
okay, thanks.
Okay, I think Faisal has already answered. If we have Faisal answers, I will wait some also questions from sorry, some answers from you guys, girls, especially. We have mashallah, we have so many bright girls here. I wanted to see new names. I seen Najwa today, but there is so many of you guys, mashallah, is here, like really super, I would say, intelligent. So if you guys can really get some girls' answers here. Tagreed saying B or C. Okay, good. Okay, I see this is also a very good initiative from Tagreed, mashallah. Okay. Who else, guys, wanted to really contribute to this question? Okay, I will give it one more minute and then we will review, the answer together, guys. Okay, guys. So I think this is like okay. Shaza is saying D, hire additional staff for the IT department to assist with the vulnerability management and logging. Okay. So let us go, guys, and look at there is two uh, things that we really need. So they wanted first they switch the following should the organization consider investing in first. So the first thing they do, due to the potential of impact of availability. So I'm really worried about availability. Okay. There's two things here, guys, that will highlight to you. So I can read the whole scenario, but the important things that I wanted to really to look at. What kind of controls that will help us in case of availability? Okay. Confidentiality, we know, encryption, access management, integrity, all this kind. But what really can really preserve, availability? That you have something like a warm side or a hot side or a backup or redundant systems. So if your main system is down, you should have a redundant system that will go up and take care of what's happening. Okay. So if we look at these two specific events, in July 31, okay, the service had an outage, which is basically some service was down, and the backup failed, okay, and enabled to restore for 3 days. This is a disaster, basically. Okay, we are trying to restore data from the backup, and it didn't work. So what that means? Our availability down, and we didn't really work for 3 days, and it caused policy violation because the policy violation will say that we need to be operating within maybe 4 or 5 hours. So this is one thing. Also here, guys, we had in November 24th, we have a ransom attack. And also, again, the backup failed and we didn't know how to really enable to really restore for many days as well. You know that, Matt, what means? Basically, yes, bravo Hanuf. Really good explanation. Both on July 31 and November, the organization could not really restore multiple. So this is exactly what I was trying to say here. So Hanuf was saying that basically these two events shows you that we don't have a backup solution and we cannot restore within the timing that we already agreed with the management. And with this specifically ransom attack, you know what? If the attacker managed to really encrypt your data and you don't have a backup, you have only one solution, which is you pay for the attackers. Okay, so what is really the first thing the company need to invest on, okay, in order to preserve availability? Okay, the first one is saying hiring managed service provider to help with vulnerability management. Is that relevant for availability, guys?
No.
Okay, so this one is excluded. Okay, let's look at this, guys. Build a warm site in case of the system outage. This is really good, guys, but really warm site is not the solution.
We don't
Okay?
have a backup. I don't think it's
Yes,
still gonna work too.
yes. The only thing is can be really work if this was a hot site. I would agree. Why? Because hot site means we have a replica of your main site working. But warm site, that means you have the communication links, you have a servers, but you don't have the data. Okay, so side in this case, guys, it will not help you to restore your operation because it doesn't include your data. So what is really we wanted to do in order to ensure availability is to invest in a failover and redundant systems, which is basically if something happen, I have a redundant system that have the same data, and this is could be really your disaster recovery side or your hot side. Okay, basically why? Because you will have a failover when the main side fail. Okay, for 3 days, I can turn to my hot side, and hot side is does have everything as a redundant. Okay, and it can work right away. Warm side will not work right away. Okay, and I cannot stay 3 or 5 days without working. So this is could be an answer, but this is the proper answer here is written here. The last one is about hiring additional staff. It will not help. Even if you get 1,000 people in this company, we don't have a proper backup. We will not be able to restore. We're not going to be able to operate. So this is not going to be helpful. So again, the right answer is basically is C. Okay, guys. So this is also important to look at for this question. Okay, so let's look at this question, guys. This question, let me explain it because it's a bit advanced. I don't think that we have covered here. Maybe I mention it in a very clear way, but it's again. So it's giving you in map scanning, and in map scanning again, it will give you a list of all your ports that operate in one computer. So it can tell you know what, this is port 80 is running, this is FTP is running, this is SSH is running, so you know which port. And later on, you can see, guys, here, this is the FTP is running Microsoft FTPD. So this is basically the daemon that runs in the Linux servers. Okay, you can see here SSH, okay, is running, HTTP is running, Microsoft HTTPD is running on this computer version 2. Okay, and some other boards are running. 443 is running as well. 691 is also running, and SIB, which is which is another protocol, is running over here. Okay, the analysts want to obtain more information about the web-based service. So he wanted to really to get more data about this service specifically. Okay, so he wanted to interact with this service. Why? Because the security analysts wanted to really see which version is running. Okay, can I really find if this version is exploitable or no? So wanted to really do something called banner grabbing. Okay, so banner grabbing can be done to communicate to the web servers and try to get the banner of the service and understand what kind of service are running. Okay, so this is the banner grabbing stage. Okay, which of the following command would most likely do the banner grabbing for this information? So he's giving you some of these. So he said Bing. Okay, why Bing doesn't work in banner grabbing? Because basically, guys, Bing is to uh, okay. So basically, because Bing is wanted to check the connectivity between two computers, it will not give you any information about web application running on this server. So this one is wrong. Okay, guys. Again, FTPD, okay, and then the IP address and the port number 443 is also not gonna give you information about web application. I wanted really to get more information about web application. So this one is really not gonna work because we are talking about web adapters or all the switches or all the firewall between the source and the destination, you will use the trace RT. So this is also is not the correct answer. So the right answer here, guys, is basically to telnet to the IP address, which is you are looking at, okay, that runs this IP address, which is here, okay, and over the port number, either 80 or 443 to get more data. This is what we call it banner grabbing. I know this is a bit advanced, but again here you can tell why this other three other option over here is not the right answer, guys. Okay, so I just explained what's banner grabbing, and banner grabbing basically is you interacting with the servers over the telnet or over SSH to understand what kind of banners you will get. Banners means the main screen of the web server, and it will reveal some information about the web server. We'll talk about banner grabbing, guys. Don't worry about it, inshallah, in the next, inshallah. Okay, we have this one. Okay, so we have some questions here. It's okay, we still have Sunday to review it. So we'll look at for one more question, and then inshallah we go for a break. I think it's almost time for break. And when we come back, Abir will start to explain more questions, guys. So let's look at this, guys. What kind of attack it is, and what is the reason of these vulnerabilities. So I'm gonna let you guys read the scenario. So El Hanouf and Nasiba is saying, MashaAllah. Okay, but I wanted you guys to really read what we mean by response is stunted, looking for proof of this vulnerability. Okay, I see Faisal is saying D. By the way, Faisal, the last one doesn't have to do anything with XSS. The last one is talking about cross-site request 4G, which is CSRSF. So the last one is completely out of questions because it talks about different thing. Okay, so D is not part of it. Okay. So the developer did not implement default protection in the web application build, but this really, guys, doesn't really talks about default protection. Default protection means like encryption, access management. I'm not talking about access management here. I'm talking about here we having a certain vulnerability assessment, which is trying to basically exploit a vulnerability within a data field, an input field, okay, or a text field. So I'm trying to do injection, and this injection, we're trying to do XSS injection. So this is doesn't have to do anything. So the last two answers is excluded, okay? And as you can see here, guys, this application, which is the vulnerability assessment, keeps trying, okay, to exploit this data field. And then finally, it's saying, response is stunted, looking for proof of this vulnerability, okay? So it's kind of give you a hint that there's something really could be a vulnerable, and we really need to validate it, okay? So it's giving you kind of saying, you know what, we are suspecting this is could be a vulnerability. So this is why, guys, it's saying here the developer did not set a proper cross-site scripting protection in this header, or the developer set input validation protection on the specific field of the search ASPX. Okay, so which one is really right here, guys? So here uh, in the header, okay, but we are not talking about header. Why? Because if you can see here, we are trying to really look at the text search with actions, and this specifically where in the search edit ASPX. So we are not looking at the header, we're looking at the ASPX file, okay? So it seems like the developer set input validation protection on the specific field of the search ASPX. This was really the matching for what we have been done, trying to exploit this area in the section, not in the header. So the right answer is A. Okay, guys? So this is will be the end of, I would say, we have some other questions. Let us take another question, guys, before we go, because we still have 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll take like a long break until 11 o'clock. So let's look at the final question here. Okay, so the answers here, guys, again, I got C. Okay, mashallah. Two answers C so far. Razan, it's good to see you. Al Hanouf, mashallah. Ibtisam saying Wireshark. Okay, good. I can see, mashallah, very good response from you guys. And let me explain what's happening here. We have a SCADA system like a PLC, okay, and this PLC usually are looking after some sensors. This is what we explained before in SCADA a long time ago. And this PLC are reporting to a computer Windows systems. Over here, we called it the management systems. Sometimes we called it HMI, as a human graphical interface or human management interface. Sometimes we mention it as a SCADA system supervisors that can supervise the PLC and supervise also the component under the PLC. Okay, so it's saying that we are suspecting some malicious activity within our SCADA systems. Okay, and we mentioned SCADA is really stand for like SCADA usually are managing system which is remote, maybe in a rig in the middle of the sea or something like this. Okay, and this PLC is now overheating, and this, it makes a destabilization for the power supply. Which of the following is best identify potential indicator of compromise? I wanted to see if there is a compromise. Why? Because seems like there is a traffic created from these guys and asking the PLC to do something suspicious. Okay, so I wanted to really to see what kind of traffic. Okay, so here it's saying let's do burp suit. Burp suit is a vulnerability scanning for web application. So this is really not going to be useful at all here. Okay, use Nmap to capture packets. Nmap is not also a tools for capturing the packets. So this is also wrong option. Okay, so we have two options over here, guys. These options are use TCP dump to capture, Nmap for scan, yes, not for capturing the packets. Use TCP dump to capture packets from SCADA device IP address. Use we use Wireshark to capture packet between SCADA devices and management system. Okay, so I wanted really how to do this. So PLC guys are rigid computers, okay, that runs special software. So you cannot really come here and run TCP dump in PLCs. Okay, how you will do this? We don't have any control over this PLC, and this is not a computers. And sometimes it's like built in a very old Linux systems or maybe on Windows system that runs special software that's called real-time operating system, RTOs. So this is not easy to run. But I wanted to see what kind of traffic this PLC are getting, okay? Because it seems like I'm getting the wrong command from my management system. And that's why I will install Wireshark here and start to analyze the traffic has been sent to the PLC. So the most accurate answer here for this question is use the Wireshark, because usually the HMI is based on Windows or based in a Linux operating system. So it's easy to have a Wireshark installed and we capture the data. And then we capture the SCADA devices and the management system, because it seems like someone infected the management system by a virus or malware, and this malware is giving wrong command for the PLC. So it's something like stucknets. So we really wanted to really check the traffic, and the traffic can be done by installing Wireshark here and analyze the traffic. So this is the answer for this question. I think with this kind of answers and questions, I'm giving you the different type of questions and how to solve it. And inshallah, by time you will get really good in solving the question, because you will use the analytic part of your mind to analyze the questions and exclude the wrong answers and really focus on the right answers. Again, inshallah, the exam will be Monday. What time on Monday? It's gonna be around 9:30, but it's not confirmed yet. But we will let you guys know as soon as we confirm the timing. But again, our time on Sunday will come for revision, and then Monday will come early morning, 9 o'clock here to the room normally, and then we will decide what time the exam will be. So with this further notes, I will give you guys a 20 minutes break. Okay. So everyone can enjoy a cup of tea, and then we will come back after 20 minutes, 11 o'clock. We'll start a smaller session with Dr. Abir to give you some also question and answer for the questions. Okay, guys, thank you very much, and I'll see you inshallah in the afternoon session. See you guys.
Customer want to deploy a large number of three-tier web application on compute engine or compute cloud. How should the customer ensure authenticated network separation between the different tier of the application? طيب هو هنا قال ايه؟ قال انه عندنا عميل عنده عدد كبير جدا من التطبيقات، كويس، اللي هي من الثلاث مستويات في الحوسبه السحابيه او في الكلاود، عاوز يعمل لها ديبلويمنت في كلاود، كويس. ايه اللي المفروض هو يعمله؟ كويس، عشان to separate ensure authenticated المصادقه بتاعته او الفيريفيكيشن بتاعته للنتورك separation between the different tiers of the application. المفروض يعمل شنو؟ run each tier in the own project and segregate using project label اللي هو يشغل كل طبقة في حتة مختلفة عن الثانية، يقوم بتشغيل run each tier with the different service account SA and use SA based firewall rule، يعمل كل SA rule لحالة مختلفة عن الثانية، أو يقوم بتشغيل run each tier in its own subnet، ياخد كل واحدة في subnet لوحدها، أو run each tier with the own VM tags and use tags based firewall rules. What do you think؟ هيعمل ايه؟ هياخد كل واحد من البروجكت يعمل له deployment في حتة منفصلة، ولا هياخدهم كل واحدة فيه يعمل segmentation كويس لكل سبنت لحالة، او اللي هيعمل يوزر او سيرفيس اكاونت ياخد لها رول لحالة، او يعمل VM tagging. What do you think? B, C, Faisal told C, Naif told B, Ab another one told C. Okay, for our time, we are going for C, to C. They supposed to make a segmentation for the network. Segmentation with it means segmentation أو التفصيل أو التجميع أو حط كل مجموعة براها لحالها، هي إنه حط كل سبنت ويعمل لها رول مختلفة عن الثانية اللي هي subnet based. No, it is C بسام. Segmentation. Segmentation بسام. Okay. In shared security responsibility model for IaaS infrastructure as a service, which two layers هم الطبقتين of the stack does customer shared responsibility for؟ هم الطبقتين اللي مفروض الstack does customer shared responsibility for؟ هنا عندي جوابين، hardware ولا network security ولا storage encryption ولا access policy ولا boot. طيب responsibility على مستوى ال IaaS. اوكي B بسام told B، عبد العزيز told C و D. انا عندي جوابين يا بسام، ايه هما؟ C and B network security. طب هو access control على مستوى ال IaaS، على مستوى ال IaaS اللي هو الستاك اللي تبع الكاستمر، هي الستورج هو اللي بيعمل access control او هو responsible for ال access policy for ال storage encryption. It is not a responsibility for service provider. IaaS storage encryption is about customer, not service provider. And access policy. مين اللي بيحط ال access policy؟ الكاستمر not a service provider. No, it is storage encryption. الميثود اللي هنتبعها في الانكريبشن تبع الستورج تبعتنا، والاكسس بوليسي اللي هنعمل لها implementation في الانفراستراكشر تبعنا. Is it clear? نايف، فيصل.
Yes, it's clear.
طب الريسبونسابيلتي على مستوى الانفراستراكشر as a service للستورج، الميكانيزم تبع الستورج اللي ستورج انكريبشن اللي هتطبق على الستورج هي مسؤوليه الكاستمر، ما مسؤوليه السيرفيس بروفايدر. اللي هيوفر لي الانفراستراكشر as a service دي ما مسؤوليته، دي مسؤوليه الكاستمر because this is their own data. دي الداتا تبعهم، هم اللي مسؤولين منها، هم اللي مسؤولين من حمايتها، بس هم السيرفيس بروفايدر بيوقف بس على الانفراستراكشر as a service. والبوليسيز اللي هنعمل لها implementation مسؤوليه الكاستمر برضه، ما هي مسؤوليه السيرفيس بروفايدر. agreed؟ agreed guys?
Yes, agree.
Okay. A customer deploys an application and needs to check for open web application security project. Web application security project, in short, it's called OWASP, vulnerability. Which service should be used to accomplish this? هو قال ايه؟ قال انه عندنا customer، عندنا customer وعاوز يعمل check كويس للفولنربيلتي اللي موجوده على الويب ابلكيشن تبعه كويس، وعشان هو يعمل السيرف يعمل السكان ده كويس، هو سكان هو هيعمله، ايه اللي محتاج له؟ لا سوري انا نسيت واحد، sorry. Which two implied firewall rules are defined on virtual private cloud network? I'm so sorry. Which two implied firewall ايه هما القاعدتين اللي مفروض يتطبقوا او يتعرفوا to defined on a private virtual private cloud network. هي الرول allowed inbound all، هي رول نعمل configuration لرول بتقبل كل الانباوند كونكشن، ولا نعمل configuration لرول بتقفل كل رول بتفتح كل الاوت باوند كونكشن، او رول بتقفل كل الانباوند كونكشن اللي هي بتعمل لها ديناي، او رول ثانيه بتعمل بلوك للاول انباوند اللي جايه بالبورت 25، ولا رول بتعمل بلوك للاول اوت باوند، ولا رول بتعمل allow لكل الباوند اللي جايه through port 80. شيخة told A and B. Naif told A and B. Yes, it is all right. A and B. في الحالة ديت احنا اللي مفروض نعمل لهم allowed two rules، اللي هي الرول اللي بتفتح كل الاوت باوند، علشان احنا ما تفرق معانا الترافيك اللي ماشي مننا، بس الترافيك اللي جايه مننا نقفل منها الحاجات اللي احنا ما عايزينها او نقفلها كلها. هنا احنا اخترنا نقفلها كلها لانه ما عايزين ال 25 بس وما عايزين ال 80 بس. We have another port restricted, should be restricted. Okay. طيب. A customer deploys an application and needs to check for WASP vulnerability. Which service should be used to accomplish this? Abdelaziz, so 4 equals C. 4 equals C. What does it mean 4 equals C? C, web security.
It's for question 4. For question 4 equal answer C.
Okay. Good definition. Okay, totally agree. Because it is WASP and it is based on web application, we need to make a web security scan. Okay. Which the following must import? No, not this. Yes, the 5th one. Which the following is most important when facing network level security in public cloud environment? قال لك الحاجة اللي احنا مفروض الفاكتورينج للنتورك سيكيورتي اللي مفروض احنا نحطها في الاعتبار او نديها الأهمية كويس، او نحطها في الحساب بتاعنا لمستوى الأمان for security اللي مفتوح، اللي هي عندي طبعا أكثر من نوع، اللي public والprivate والcommunity، دي الأنواع تبعت اللي بعمل لها publish. طب الكلاود environment للpublic cloud environment إيه هي الحاجة اللي إحنا مهمة بالنسبة لنا to be in factor؟ ensure good user experience، ولا ensure confidentiality، ولا ensure redundancy، ولا ensure high availability؟ Which one? What do you think? طيب هي public هي public يا شذا. للببليك هاخد ايه في اعتباري؟ المهم بالنسبة لي ايه أكتر حاجة مهمة؟ الاكسبيرينس؟ No, it is not a user experience. Yes, Naif, it is confidentiality for security. الريدندنسي حاجة مختلفة. احنا الريدندنسي والavailability، الهاي availability it's the same. For high availability we need a redundancy. محتاجين يكون عندنا redundancy. الconfidentiality because security and in public environment. Got it, Shaza? Shaza, are you here? Yes, because it is security. ده الكي تبع ده المفتاح تبع السؤال. Public environment and security consideration. علشان كده على طول هنمشي هندور على الconfidentiality. Okay. An administrator is creating a new service and has required that the OS must be hardened. Which the following should be performed to harden an OS. عندي السيستم administrator. Yes, for sure. عندي system administrator وعنده service should be published. We need to configure. عاوز يعمل configuration لسيرفر from the scratch من البداية. قاموا قالوا له إن السيرفيس دي مفروض إن هي تكون secure، وعلشان تكون secure مفروض الأوبريتنج سيستم بعد الديبلويمنت تبعه أو الانستوليشن مفروض نعمل له هاردنينج. هاردنينج يعني إيه؟ يعني نخليه آمن. نخليه آمن معناته نشتغل بالليست ريكويرمنت، أقل حاجة إحنا محتاجين لها علشان نقدر ننفذ بها المهام تبع الابلكيشن أو نكمل بها المهام تبعنا، نقفل كل حاجة ثانية non required. What the following should be performed to harden. عشان يعمل الهاردنينج ده هو محتاج ليه؟ محتاج يعمل انكريبشن للهارد درايف، ولا محتاج يعمل رن للديفراجمنتيشن للهارد ديسك، او محتاج يعمل رينيمينج للادمنستريتور اكونت، ولا محتاج يعمل change the page file. A encryption. All of you? No, it is not A. هو ما محتاج يعمل انكريبشن للهارد درايف. الهارد درايف هيعمل ليه انكريبشن؟ معناته ده الموضوع عنده علاقه بالاكسس كنترول. احنا لسه ما وصلنا مرحله الاكسس كنترول. هو عمل ببلش وعايز يعمل سكيورنج هاردنينج للاو اس ما للابلكيشن. الابلكيشن هنعمل انكريبشن، للداتا هنعمل للانكريبشن to protect الداتا. في الوقت الحالي احنا محتاجين نعمل هاردنينج للاوبريتنج سيستم. يبقى محتاجين to change الادمنستريتور account name should be renamed. علشان دي واحدة من المشاكل. الاتاكر لما نعمل اتاك لأي سيستم بيدور على الادمنستريتور يوزر. If it change, it will make them confused. Which one is administrator? Got it? This is one of our operating system hardening process أو control. دي واحدة من الحاجات اللي بنعملها عشان to protect the operating system. Naif, Shaza. Oh, it's manipulative? No, it is not. هي دي واحدة من الأساسيات تبع الهاردنينج. علشان كده احنا المرة اللي فاتت قلنا لكم ارجعوا للكنترولز تبع نست، أو أنا قلت لكم في بنش مارك بتاعت الأوبريتنج سيستم هاردنينج. دي البيزكس. To protect your operating system, to harden your operating system, to make it secure, supposed to rename administrator account. Got it, guys? All of you? Okay, all of you. That is good. Okay, an administrator also need to provide internet access to all internal systems using single IP address. Which of the following should the administrator implement? Perfect, Salhanouf. Perfect, Abdulaziz. Yes, it is the NAT, because single IP address and internet for internal system. This is the key for this question. Internal system supposed to access for internet and using single IP, which is mean NAT. Okay, in which of the following cloud service will the customer be responsible for securing provisioned host? طيب الكاستمر، احنا السؤال ده عدينا عليه وفوق على فكرة. الكاستمر بيكون responsible للsecurity provisioned. Exactly, this is B. لما نبقى على مستوى responsibility للsecurity على المستوى بتاع ال provisioned host is supposed to be for customer. That is mean we are using infrastructure as a service environment. Yes, Sheikha, it is B. Okay. For now, he told us, or he asked us, which the following can be used to encrypt data at rest on the VM located in cloud? Is it ACE or SSL or TLS or VPN? Okay, Abdulaziz, can you help me and tell us why? Why it is ACE? All of them for encryption, SSL, TLS, VPN.
Yes, VPN is for connection, so it's not gonna be for data. TLS and SSL, it's for web application, securing the HTTPS, and ACE is the only thing that
for data.
Yeah,
yes.
the only one is for the data.
Yes, total agree, and it's perfect. In short answer, SSL, TLS using for authentication through web to securing the tunnel, and VPN to securing the tunnel. Tunnel, which it means channel also. And ACE, it is for data. Okay, which of the following tool used to perform a credential brute force attack? Okay. I got it. Who is he? Naya. Okay, why it's Hydra? A and B and C. A, Hydra, John the Ripper, and Hashcat.
Yes, I believe I did use Hashcat in the university to do brute force using patterns. I believe Hashcat can do dictionary and Rainbow and brute force. Even John the Ripper can do brute force too. And John the Ripper is designed to do brute force. I did use it before, and Hydra I just used it in this camp. So I believe the three of them can, like.
Faisal,
No.
Faisal, you have to choose just one, not three. You know what I mean? Just
no,
focus.
I'll explain. أنا هقول لك ليه. هي هايدرا يا فيصل. هايدرا ليه؟ هايدرا لأنه هايدرا it's a non-line tool. The attacker used the Hydra to steal the credential. But John the Ripper and Hashcat need the hash file firstly to crack it. Got it?
Oh, okay. It did not mention that in the question. It did not say you need the hash or you don't. It just says conditional brute
perform
force. So I did
credential.
not get it. So
To
it's
perform
okay.
credential, to perform credential, not to a password cracking. Credential, which means username and password at that time, should be captured.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
This is what we mean when we talk about this. The following tool used to perform the credential brute force attack. All of them used for brute force to credential. But John the Ripper and Hashcat also aircrack. But we are using aircrack in another way. John the Ripper and Hashcat using for the same. Hydra using online to perform and to catch the credential. To perform the credential, username and password. Is it clear? Naif, yes, alhamdulillah. Okay. Okay. Which the following action should be taken when transmitting data to mitigate the chance of the data leak occurring? Sorry. Two answers. Is it an identification data or data identification or data processing or data masking or data encryption? D, data encryption. Okay, agree. Agree about data encryption. هو قال لك لما نعمل transmitting لداتا، عاوزين نبعت data from A to B، هنعمل لها transmission، مفروض انه احنا نحميها من التعديل chance of the data leak او من التسريب ومن الانتهاك او من كل الحاجات اللي ممكنه يعني اللي ممكن تحصل لها. هنعمل لها ايه؟ هنعمل لها identification ولا هنعمل لها processing ولا هنعمل لها masking؟ Yes, Faisal. It is C, should be masked and should be encrypted. We have two answers here. Okay, a penetration tester has performed a security assessment to start a firm. The reports list a total of 10 vulnerabilities with the 5 identified as critical. We have a 10 vulnerabilities, total 10 vulnerabilities. عنده 10 weaknesses, 10 vulnerabilities with the 5 identified as critical. عنده 5 منهم كان الريسك تبعهم critical. The client doesn't have the resources to immediately remediate all of vulnerabilities. ما عنده ما عنده مصادر أو ما عنده resources أو ما عنده employees أو ما عنده experience to resolve all of these vulnerabilities right now. ما عنده resources ديت. Under such circumstances, which of the following would be the best? في الحالة دي الأسيسر هيعمل إيه؟ best suggestion should be client deploy او يعملوا في الحاله ديت او اللي هيوصي بيه البنتريشن تيستر الفيرم او الستارت اب فيرم دي علشان يعملوا ايه؟ to apply easy combating control، على يعملوا control للcritical vulnerabilities كويس to minimize the risk and proprietarize remediation or identify the issues that can be remediated. So must quickly, okay, implement the least impactful of the critical vulnerability remediation first and then address the critical vulnerabilities. No, Naif. It is not C. It is D. He's supposed to fix all of these vulnerabilities. This is number one. But the fact and the current situation for the startup firm, he have no resources. هو ما عنده أي مصادر، ما عنده يا إما ما عنده employee كافيين، ما عنده موظفين كافيين، يا إما اللي عنده ما عندهم الخبرة الكافية، كويس؟ يا إما هم ما فاضيين مشغولين بحاجة ثانية. يبقى الحاجة اللي حنوصليها من كل الحاجات ديت البست suggestion بتاعنا هو إيه؟ إنه to fix the most critical vulnerability firstly. Yes, هو بس بيدي suggestion، هو ما بيعمل بنفسه. هو ما بيعمل بنفسه. Look at the question. The following would be best suggestion. هو بس هيقول اعملوا كده، ما هيقول حاجة تانية. Okay. A penetration tester wants to target NetBIOS name service. Which of the following is the most likely command to exploit the NetBIOS name server? Is it an ARB proof or Nmap or responder or brute force? Which one? What do you think? The penetration tester عاوز عنده target كويس want to exploit عاوز NetBIOS name service. Which the following? أي واحدة من ديل اللي ممكن أو التول اللي هو ممكن يمشي معاها to exploit NetBIOS name service, to attack NetBIOS name service. Faisal, A, ARB, spoof. Okay. Tagreed, it is B. It is Nmap. Okay. Also, who? Tagreed B. I think D. Who told D? Brute force. Okay. No, I will tell you. I will tell you here. It is responder. Nmap, brute force, sorry, not brute force, it's burp suit. Burp suit, we are using burp suit tool for interception, for data interception. When send the data from A to B, the attacker stay in the middle and intercept the traffic. The responder, the attacker, can make a scan and steal the credential. He needs to steal the credential, steal the authentication credential. But Nmap also using for NetBIOS. كمان Nmap بنستخدمها للNetBIOS بس بنستخدمها to scan open port, not to steal a credential. So he needs to exploit to attack, not to scan. In this time, the suitable answer or the correct one, it is responder. The attacker using responder to steal the authentication credential. Got it, guys? Guys, I'm talking to you and oh, oops, just a minute. Guys, is it clear? For NetBIOS, we have two tools can use to scan NetBIOS name service. We can use Nmap and we can use responder. Just that. Brute force for another and ARB spoof for another. Nmap use it just to scan an open port علشان بس نعمل سكان ونشوف ايه البورتس اللي مفتوحة اللي موجودة عندنا على النت بايوس ده. بس الريسبوندر to steal الauthentication credential to exploit. المفتاح هنا تبع السؤال هو الاكسبلويت. نركز بس يا جماعة، والله الامتحان غالبا في كل الأحيان الامتحانات ما بتكون صعبة، بس بتكون فيها تريكس احنا المفروض ننتبه عليها وناخد بالنا منها. زمان لما علمونا قالوا فهم السؤال نصف الإجابة، دور على المفتاح تبع السؤال هنعرف الإجابة على طول. To exploit we need not just scan, we need to steal. That is mean responder. Abdulaziz, Shaza, Nusayba, where are you all? Bassam, thank you. Okay, Reem, it is clear. A security consultant service a document outline the scope of the upcoming penetration test. This document contains IP address, you are what? Oh, okay. Security consultant service document receives document outlining the scope of an upcoming penetration test. This document contains IP addresses and the time that each can be scanned. Which of the following would contain this information? عندنا شركة تبعت security أو شركة استشارية بتاعت security أخذت received يعني استقبلت أو جاها document من شركة ثانية اللي هي هتعمل لها penetration testing. الدوكيومنت دي موجود عليها شنو؟ السكوب اللي هي مفروض تشتغل عليه كويس، والاي بيز اللي هي مفروض تشتغل عليها علشان تعمل البنتريشن تيستينج تبعها كويس، والتايم اللي مفروض هي تبدا فيه، الزمن اللي هتبدا فيه البنتريشن تيست تبعها. which of the following واي واحده من الدوكيومنت اللي موجوده عند تحديات الليست ديت هي اللي كانت بتحتوي على الحاجات ديت، السكوب والتايم والاي بي ادرس. الانفورميشن دي موجوده وين؟ موجوده في الرول اوف انجيجمنت دوكيومنت ولا الريكوست اوف بروبوزل ولا الماستر سيرفيس اجريمنت ولا البزنس امباكت اناليسيس؟ عبد العزيز told B request for proposal. Okay, Nusayba told B. Who else? Any opinions? Any opinions? A. Any opinions? I need more opinions. Where are you guys? A. Shaza. A. Faisal. Nusayba and Abdulaziz told B. Where are you, Naif? Reem A. Okay, I will explain. This data supposed to be in rules of engagement. We have many types of documentation, but request for proposal when لما يبقى عندنا شركة بتقدم خدمات وشركة تانية عاوزة تاخد من الخدمات دي، بتطلب منها البروبوزل تبعها عشان تشوف ايه اللي مناسب منها علشان تاخده وتستفيد منه. Master of Service Agreement بيبقى عندنا ديل ما بين two entities من شركتين اثنين او مؤسستين اثنين، واخدوا بيبقى عندهم ديل وعايزين يعملوا السيرفيس اجريمنت بتاعتهم. Business Impact Analysis اللي هو already بيكون عندي حصلت مشكلة وعملوا الاناليسيس تبعهم او عملوا سكان او عملوا سكوبينج او عملوا ريسك اناليسيس وطلعوا بالبزنس امباكت اناليسيس بالاسسمنت اللي عملوه. بس الدوكيومنت الوحيده اللي بنوجد فيها كل الانفورميشن اللي محتاجينها الكونسلتنت from the client supposed to be in rule of engagement. Got it, guys? All of you, is it clear? If anything is not clear, just stop me, please. Okay, that is good. Sounds good. A penetration tester execute the following command. عندي penetration tester هيعمل test ومحتاج يعمل كم command. الكوماند اللي عملها الواضح عندنا انه ده سيرفر تبع ويندوز. قال له user profile JTR execute. حاول يعمل generate او سوري حاول يعمل execute للفايل اللي اسمه JTR. جاهو فيدباك. الفيدباك قال له this program has been blocked by group policy. already الكلاينت عنده group policy implemented في الديفايسز دي، ممكن تكون published for the all employees by Active Directory. كويس، هو اللي بيعمل كنترول على الديفايسز وقام عمل implementation للجروب policy اللي بتعمل بلوك للفايلات تبع الاكسكيوشن ديت بتاعت السيستم. قام عمل ايه؟ نفذ كوماند ثاني بيقول access check. الكوماند اللي اسمه accesscheck.exe او التول اللي هو مشاها ديت او التول اللي هو امر انه يتنفذ دي، امر ان هي تتنفذ بتعمل تشيك لاي حاجه ماخذ الاكسس الريد رايت. ريد ورايت هو بقى ما عارف، هو حصل له كونفيوجن لانه حاول يمشي كوماند وقال له انه الكوماند ده بلوكد، التول دي بلوكد او الابلكيشن ده بلوكد. عشان يقدر يعرف ايه اللي هو محتاجه او ايه الموجود هو على اساس بيرميشن ريد رايت على الديفايسز دي، عمل اكسس تشيك with options. الاوبشنز اللي اخذها ايه؟ الاوبشن اللي اخذها -w و-s و-q. -w بتعني ايه؟ -w بتعني عايز كل الملفات اللي عليها الاكسس تبع الرايت. كل الملفات اللي عليها الاكسس تبع الرايت. و-s كل الملفات اعمل لي تكرار، يعني بعد ما تعمل امشي واحد ورا واحد. الملفات دي موجوده وين؟ موجوده في سلاش في سي ويندوز. كل الدايركتوري تبع الويندوز اللي موجود في السي اعمل لي سكان، اعمل لي تشيك لكل الدايركتوريز، اعمل ريبيتد للكوماند، امشي فايل ورا فايل، طلع لي الاوتبوت تبع الريد رايت للفايلات اللي موجوده. الاوتبوت تبعه طلع ايه؟ طلع قال له الريد رايت موجود في السي ويندوز تراكنج او تريسنج، في دايركتوري اسمه تريسنج موجود في الويندوز، هو عنده البيرميشن الريد رايت. قال له اعمل لي كوبي لانه عنده ريد رايت، معناتها دي الحاجه الوحيده اللي هو هيقدر يستخدمها، هيعمل كوبي للفايل ده. قال له اعمل لي كوبي لليوزر بروفايل JTR اللي هو قبالك قال لنا ما قادر يشتغله لانه هو بلوك. قام قال يعمل كوبي للJTR ده يحطه في الدايركتوري اللي اسمه tracing عشان يقدر يستخدمه، لانه هو في مكانه ما هيعرف يستخدمه بلوكد. عمل له كوبي في الدايركتوري اللي اسمه tracing لانه have a read write permission. بعد كده دخل على الويندوز والتراكنج او التريسنج ونفذ الكوماند اللي هو عاوز ينفذه to attack او to scan اللي هو JTR.exe. لما نفذه دخل معاه وجاب له الفيرجن وفتح معاه. شرح الكوماند اللي هو عملها واضحه؟ Tell me guys. Faisal told A, Reem told C.
Yes, it's clear.
A or D? No or here, Ibtisam. Just select one. Is insecure file permission? Or it is shell escape?
I know, but I believe it's insecure file permission since it's just move it and it's now it can like execute it, so it's not really secure.
Let's explain the options. Insecure file permission معناها ايه؟ انه عندنا weaknesses موجوده في السيستم تبعنا بتبقى عندها علاقه بالبرميشن بتاعت الفايل تبعنا. application whitelist معناتها ان البوليسي الجروب بوليسي اللي حصل لها implementation عندها whitelist وعندها blacklist، يا حطت الابلكيشن في الوايت ليست يا حطته في البلاك ليست. بس احنا واجهتنا مشكله بتاعه بلوكد، معناتها الموضوع ما عنده علاقه، هو اصلا اوريدي كان في الوايت في البلاك ليست، وهو عمل ورك اراوند to be in whitelist. الشell escape. What does it mean of shell escape? A system administrator for operating system to secure or to harden الاوبريتنج سيستم. عشان نحمي الاوبريتنج سيستم تبعنا بنعمل حاجه اسمها shell escape، اللي هي بنعمل الكوماند تكون ريستريكتد، ما كل اليوزرز اللي موجودين عندنا يقدروا ينفذوا كل الكوماند اللي موجوده او المتاحه. كل يوزرز ينفذوا كوماند معينه، ده علشان نقيد انه في اتاك حصل، نقدر نقيد الاتاك من انه ينفذ كل الكوماند، والاتاكر ده علشان يقدر يبقى فري ويقدر يبقى عنده كنترول ويقدر ينفذ كل الكوماند هيحتاج لزمن تو انبلوك الشell سكيب بتاعتنا. في الوقت ده السكانرز او الديتكتور حتكون اكتشفت انه في abnormal behavior، هيقوموا الاي ار او الاي ار تيم هياخدوا الاكشن تبعهم by isolate this system and try to eradicate it and recover it. Writable service، انه دي service كانت writable which is wrong, it is not writable. shell escape, it is not a shell escape، لانه لو shell escape ما هيقدر يعمل اي work around ثاني لانه هيكون restricted. اذا application whitelist هو already ما application whitelist لانه كان عندي block group policy كانت implemented، يبقى الاجابه بتاعتنا insecure file permission. Got it, Reen? All of you guys? في حاجة ما واضحة؟ Okay, الحمد لله شذا. Where is you guys? We have just 10 minutes. We need to read this question.
Yeah, the next question, the answer is gonna be C. So
C, it is create snapshot. Let's see.
yes.
An administrator is an administrator is tasked with installing an application patch on server. An administrator needs the ability to restore the server to its previous state quickly. If the patch may corrupt the system, which the following should the administrator do to accomplish this task? Install the patch on development server, create a full backup, create a snapshot, or install the patch test server. C, create snapshot, Faisal. Abdulaziz, B, create full backup. Okay, because we have no time, I will tell you what the correct answer. The correct answer is to take a snapshot or to create a snapshot. Yes, he's supposed to make a full backup, Abdulaziz, you are right. And before that, he's supposed to make a batching for test server, but test server or develop, it's the same. Test server and development server, it's the same servers. It's for development or for test. We can use it for the both. And these servers, it may have a different situation, different status. So it doesn't make sense to deploy. It will not affect at all the time to deploy it with no issues in the main device or main server. So here we have two options. Make a full backup. This is a correct answer. Also snapshot. But in this case, in this question, we are going through create a snapshot. Why Abdulaziz create a snapshot? Because he wants to restore the server to the previous status quickly. The full backup, to retrieve the full backup, it will take a long time to retrieve it. But when we need to retrieve it quickly, supposed to make an image from this server as it is, to just deploy this image back. got it؟ يعني احنا ما هنستفيد لو عملنا على السيرفر ديفلوبمنت او على التست، ما هنستفيد كتير لو خدنا نسخه كامله بتاعت باك اب، علشان الريستور تبعها او الاستعاده بتاعتها هتاخد وقت مننا طويل. وهو هنا المفتاح تبع السؤال محتاج يرجعه للوضع الطبيعي بتاعه او الوضع السابق تبعه quickly. يبقى محتاج ياخد image as snapshot to retrieve it quickly. Got it? All of you? All of you guys? Good, Nusayba. How are you today? Hope you are doing fine. Yeah, alhamdulillah. A penetration tester review the scan results of web application. Which of the following vulnerability is most critical and should be prioritized to explanation, to exploitation? Stored XSS, or fill the patch disclosure, or expired certificate, or click hijacking? Is your game. C. Nusayba C. Faisal D. طيب. No, it is not. It is not C and it is not D. It's XSS. Please just try to follow WASP vulnerabilities. Yes, it is A. Thanks, Shaza. طيب هو قال عندنا penetration tester عمل ريفيو للسكان ريزلت اللي هو عمل سكان للويب ابلكيشن اللي عنده، والريزلت اللي جاته انه عنده كل الحاجات ديت موجوده. افضل حاجه او اللي عندها الاولويه لانها هي critical to be filled او علشان نحلها اني واحده من ديل الاكس اس اس. ليه؟ الباتش ديسكلوجر كويس مختلفه. في الباتش ممكن ما باتشت it is not a problem, it's supposed to be batched yet بس ممكن شويه تتاجل. طب expert certificate yes it's a problem بس ما زي الكريتيكاليتي تبع الاكس اس اس. اكس اس اس يعني ايه؟ كل داتا الكلاينت بيحطها او بيدخلها جوا الويب ابلكيشن بتاعي بنحفظ منها نسخه عشان نستخدمها later on. هي دي مشكله كبيره جدا كويس، وبتتعلق بالمصداقيه وبتتعلم بالسكيورتي، وبيستخدموها الاتاكر ويكنس في الابلكيشن تبعنا عشان بيقدروا ياخذوا كل الداتا اللي ستورد اللي هي already entered by the client. الكليك هايجاكينج ممكن بالاويرنس نقول لكل الناس اللي عندنا ما كل حاجه انت تضغط عليها هي كريتيكال، لكن برضه it can be managed. بس الاكس اس اس ما بيقدر يعمل لها مانج الا بتاع السكيورتي، وما بنقدر نكتشفها الا باي البنتريشن تيستينج سكان. So XSS weakness or vulnerability, it's a high critical more than a click hijacking or an expired certificate or a disclosure. All of them are weaknesses. But in XSS, it's more critical to be exploitation. Naif Abdulaziz, another. Rayan, where are you? Bassam. Guys, please help me. Is it clear, Bassam?
Yes.
All of you guys, stop me if anything is not clear. We are about finished. So let's complete our question, our revision. An administrator deployed a DAS. DAS is mean disk as a service, cloud delivery model for a financial institution and implemented the data encryption technology using ACE cryptography. Which of the following should the administrator implement next? هو عمل طب الادمنستريتور عمل deployment واخذ الخدمه من الكلاود بروفايدر ان هو عاوز ديسكتوب as a service، عمل deployment لفاينانشال انستتيوشن مؤسسه ماليه، وعمل encryption للداتا اللي موجوده واستخدم الايس كريبتوغرافي التشفير تبع ايس. Which of the following should the administrator implement at next؟ الخطوه الثانيه بعد ما عمل deployment او عمل encryption للداتا تبعه وهو مستخدم ACE، الخطوه الثانيه اللي هيعملها ايه؟ هيعمل access control ولا هيعمل RC5 ولا هيعمل SSL ولا هيعمل zoning؟ Yes أسايل. Yes تغريد. You are right. Yes عبد العزيز. هيعمل access control. RC4 it is not RC4 because RC4 it's an encryption but it's weak encryption and it can be attacked.
RC4?
RC5, sorry. RC5, RC4,
Okay.
all of them are ciphers.
Okay, I was confusing. You say RC4 and I didn't say it.
No, all of them are RC4, RC5 are ciphers, all of them. RC4,
Okay.
it allowed the administrator or network administrator to establish a network, but it will be secure, it will be non-secure, not more secured, and it can be blocked with the key, symmetric key, using symmetric key, and it can be blocked. This key variable, it is ممكن تبقى الفاريبل تبعه متغيره، ممكن تبقى 32 16 ممكن تبقى 32 وممكن تبقى 64 وممكن البلوك سايز يبقى من 0 للمفتاح من 0 لحد 2042. هو انكريبشن سيمتريك واحنا ما محتاجين للسيمتريك، احنا محتاجين لحاجه more secure because it's a financial institution. It's a more critical environment. Sorry. Got it? هو عمل كل الحاجات اللي عنده وتعدى كل المراحل لحد ما وصل لمرحله الانكريبشن وعمل انكريبشن للداتا واتبع ايس انكريبشن. It's a weak it's a good encryption, good way for encryption. The next step it's access control. بعد كده عمل الاكسس، عمل الانكريبشن ومحتاج يدي الاكسس للامبلويي تبعه علشان الانكريبشن الداتا هتكون انكريبتد من اي حد ما اوثرايزد انه تو اكسس الداتا دي. عشان كده هو محتاج to restrict الاكسس بعد كده اللي هو الاكسس كنترول. Got it guys? Sorry it is 12 but we have just 2 questions. Can we go through?
Yes.
Okay. An administrator is called to determine why desktop has been enabled to connect to the corporate network. Which of the following should be run to determine if the adapter is enabled or not? محتاجين جوابين. طب هنا النتورك ادمنستريتور اتصل عليه واحد من الموظفين اللي عنده قال له انه انا ما قادر اوصل للشبكه الداخليه تبعي. المفروض ان النتورك ادمنستريتور هيمشي للامبلوي عشان تو سبورت هيم. الكوماند اللي هو هيمشيها على الديفايس ده او على الفي ام وير او على بغض النظر على الديفايس او على الاوبريتنج سيستم اللي هيمشيها علشان يعرف هل النتورك ادابتر enabled or not. ايه هي الكوماند؟ IP config B and C net state
start and ping.
Actually, it is IP config and ping. It may be ping, but for here he need to know about the IP addresses firstly.
But it did not say firstly.
No, it didn't. Yes, but this is the first step. It is first port. He's supposed to go through another multi-process, multi-commands supposed to done to ensure or to know what's the problem. But the first one, he need to know about the IP addresses to check it if it is allowed on the firewall or it is not. It is enabled or it is not. Not state to check the port. We can use netstate-antp pipeline grep بعد كده البورت. So it is not netstate. In Windows, if it is in Windows, he will using ipconfig to get an IP address. The first step to know if he had an IP address or not. How it can be determined that? Is it the adapter is enabled? If it is enabled, he will see an IP address. If it is not, the IP address didn't appear, right? ما هيظهر له IP address. فهمت علي مين بسام؟ فيصل؟ I'm confused. ولو كان الاوبريتنج سيستم اللي هو هيشتغل عليه كان لينكس هيستخدم الكوماند ifconfig to get an IP address to ensure it is enabled or not. If it is not enabled, the adapter, network adapter, if it is not enabled, he didn't receive the IP address because it may using DHCP, not static IP address. Naif, Abdulaziz, Faisal.
Yes, it's clear. Yeah, I understand now.
The first step to determine if the adapter it is enabled, he's supposed to do in Windows ipconfig, in Linux ifconfig.
Okay.
If it is disabled, he didn't get a response. No IP will appear. ما هيكون عنده أي IP هيبان عنده.
Yeah, the IP will be not.
Yes. Ping, it is not a good option if we have ifconfig and ipconfig. Netstate for port scanning, if our port check, if it is opened or not. Got it, guys?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Which of the following would be used to prove existence of vulnerability and network? Which of the following would be used to prove the existence of vulnerability on our network?
Yeah,
Is it
it's gonna be A.
Is it a penetration testing or vulnerability scan or business impact analysis or risk management?
It's gonna be A because penetration testing always make sure that it exists because it might be false positive. So vulnerability assessment is gonna just scan the system without making sure 100% business impact analysis. It's for disaster thing after it's happened. Risk assessment is the first step that when you make, like you have your what they call it, I forget, but it's the first step for.
I agree with you. Perfect. Faisal, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm genius today. Good.
You always are genius.
No, I'm not. Okay,
yeah,
thanks
you have more knowledge than us.
I hope this revision will make a good information and good knowledge for you, and it was a good revision for you all. I tried to cover a multi things when I made this revision. So supposed to be, our hope that to be useful for you all.
Yes, it was useful. I did learn a couple of new things that I did not know. Thank you.
You are welcome. And also, I'll share with you yesterday revision and today revision with the correct answer for all of the questions.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome all the time, and so sorry for being late today. It is 12:07, and so feel free to take your break and back at 1:15. Inshallah.
Inshallah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. You are welcome. Stop sharing.
To do anything with threat hunting. So the digital forensics, okay, threat modeling, the first one, write a detection logic. You know where we studied this, guys? We studied this in IDS and IPS. We said sometimes we need to write an IDS like rules, like snort rules, like alert if there is certain traffic coming from this network going to this network, and the message will be, and the CID will be. So this is part of